So I've got this Nifty model I've been working on, and I've made it like a Vizziepop inspired shader that I think works pretty well. So we're going to show you how I did it. So she's actually got two different materials on her right now. She's got the color texture, and then she's got the line. And the line's not really that complicated, but I can change the color here of her skirt and stuff like that, and it's applied to all of it. So it's just an emission texture here. So you just choose emission, and then you choose the color you want the line to be. Then you have to make sure you select back face culling, which is kind of the most important part. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to go to your modifiers here, and you're going to add a solidify here. And then what the solidify does is it actually makes, it basically adds like an extra layer of geometry onto your mesh. And we can control the thickness and stuff with it. Then we have flip and high quality here, and what this does is it basically, with polygons, one side is transparent and the other side's not. So what this is kind of doing is it's creating a second layer of geometry, flipping the normals, and then you see the outline of the second material. You're going to have to also do material offset by 1. And so then that will make us, because this is the texture we have applied, it'll apply the second material here. So that's how we create our outlines. Let's talk about the color then, which is a little bit more complicated. So, right, well, I just learned that. Okay. So there are 3 parts to the shader here. The first one is flat colors. And that's just normally painting the character. You go image edit here. It's applying this texture here. And we have UV map, applying the mapping, and then we apply it to the texture, and then that gives us our flat colors. And then we have our second bit here. Vizziepop stuff has like a gradient attached to it, and you have to play it down a little bit, but we can play it up a bit if we need to. So you can see how it's got a gradient here. So that's our gradient, and then we basically combine them together with a multiply, kind of like you would in Photoshop or whatever. So then we have a rim light here. Now the rim light's a little bit more complicated, but you can see I've got a rim light attached to it, and that's a little bit more complicated. We'll go over that in a second. And then we take the rim light and we apply it to a mix shader into the factor. So the white part is where the rim light will be, and then we choose the color with this color here. So we apply this to the shader, and then we can change the rim light color with that. So we can choose different lighting effects or whatever. Okay, so we've gone over the 3 different parts, and now we're going to go ahead and start a new scene and do it from the start and show you how all of these work together. So file, new, general. And I mean, we're going to delete the camera and the cube. And I have a soft spot for Suzanne, so we're going to go ahead and add the monkey. And here is normally our animation window. We're going to go ahead and turn this to shader for right now, so that way we can get our monkey appropriate. Now, Suzanne's fine, but she's a little bit blocky for what we want to do. So we're going to add a subdivision surface to her so she's a little bit smoother. And if you go to tab, I'm going to go on, we do tab here, and then A to select everything, and then mesh, shading, smooth faces. And that gives us our smooth Suzanne. Okay. So we're going to add another modifier here. And this is, of course, our solidify modifier. We're going to flip high quality and the normals. Because if we flip the normals, then the solidifies flipped. Material offset 1. Okay. Maybe up this a bit. Okay, so now we're ready to start adding our materials. We're going to add our first material, should be colors. And our second material, which will be outline. We'll do the outline first because it's just easier. So we'll do emission texture. Choose a black. Make sure backface culling is on. Okay, so we are in viewport shading. Need to go into one of these two. So let's go into render settings, which is the last one here, and that'll give us what it's actually going to look like in a render. It can be a little bit hard on the computer, but we've only got Suzanne on here, so it's not going to kill us. So there we go. We've got our lines. We've got our colors and our outline now, so let's go into colors. We're going to go into tab here. And we're gonna go ahead and go into UV editor. And you can see she's already unwrapped, but if you want to do it, you hit U and unwrap. We're not going to do that, but unwrapping's a whole different thing, and it's pretty complicated, so we're not going to go do that right this because that's not this tutorial. We're going to do a new color here, and we're going to choose a pink. So we're going to do Suzanne colors. Go ahead and save that. I don't really care where it goes. So now we've got our monkey unwrapped. We've got our colors. So we're going to our colors and make sure that this is, if you look here, use nodes is what we need. We need to have use nodes there. Now the first thing we're going to do, so we're going to delete the principal BDSF, which is already in there. And we're going to hit Shift A and do image, texture. We're going to do Suzanne colors here. Go ahead and attach that. Now this may not apply appropriately, so we have to do texture, coordinates here, and choose UV. So this is basically going to make sure that the way we've unwrapped the character applies the texture appropriately. Search and color ramp. Go ahead and take the color and apply it to surface so we can see what we're doing. Then we're going to hit Shift A and do texture coordinates. And Shift A and do mapping. Okay, so window here seems to give the best effect. And we're going to go ahead and take this vector and put it into the factor there. Now to make it more dramatic, I take the scale and I turn it down to like super low. And then here, mess with the gradient so you get your desired effect. And you're going to want to not have this at 100% or else it'll be so dark. Okay. So we've got our gradient here. We've got our flat colors and we have to combine them. So we're going to hit Shift A and do a mix color. And it's always the opposite of what I think it is. So I think it's do the flat colors on bottom and then the dark colors on top. And then we're going to apply that to the surface of the material. Now here we want to do multiply. And it's always the opposite of what I think it is, I swear. It likes to mess with me. Okay. So we do the colors on top and the dark colors on bottom, and that's going to give us our colors. And we can mess with the factor here to up or lower the effect there. So that's our flat colors with a flat gradient applied. Now the rim light's a little bit more complicated. So we're going to do Shift A. I'm going to do Fresnel. Okay. So we're going to put that here and show you what this does. This little number here will give us basically an outline of our geometry. And you can see how it's creating a rim light, but it's doing it over the entire surface, and it's a little bit harsh. So we hit Shift A here and do ramp. You apply it here. And this is going to allow us to control how soft or how harsh the rim light is. So we can control this bit here. But it's not reacting to light and it's on everything. So we want to basically make it so that's not the case. So we're going to hit Shift A, we're going to BDSF, and then principled or diffuse BDSF right there. Okay. Now this is just a normal shader here. See, it's just normal. But it reacts to light, which is what we want. So we're going to Shift D, the color ramp, and put it here. And you notice there was an error there. You need to do shader to RGB. And that turns a shader into just its colors. Now you can see we've got black and then white some places. So what we want to do is we want to combine these two here into one texture. So we're going to take the multiply here, take the first one and the second one, see what that looks like, into our shader there. It's always opposite of what I think it is the other way. Okay. No, that's not it either. Okay, there it is. Okay. There we go. So with this ramp here, we can control how soft it is here. We can control that effect. And then with this one here, we can control this way. So we can make it softer or sharper there. Okay. So that's our rim light, but we want to give it a color. And we want to combine it with the gradient, the colors we just added earlier. So what we can do is do Shift A, search, and we're going to do Mix Shader. Okay. So we're going to put our shader here into the first one. Go ahead and put that into the surface. Now here we're going to put this not into the color, but into the factor. Okay? So what this will do is it'll only apply the shader we put into this one where the white is on the rim light. So we're going to Shift A here. I'm going to do emission. And if you want to like really go crazy, you can put in like a color. You could do like a separate color here, and I've done that before. And what you can do is have like a rim light that actually reacts to light that is different colors on different parts of the character. But that's a little bit much for most of what we're doing here. So we've got a Vizziepop shader, flat color with an outline, with a gradient rim light that reacts to light. And you can go all the way around the character and the rim light stays on the outside. It's not gonna look weird from any angle. So that's mostly what it is. Anyway, that's it. If you liked it, go ahead and like the video, and I'm gonna go ahead and put this up on my Kofi if you want to download it.